Greetings, welcome to all of our participants in our monthly webcast series from around the world. It's Doug Kennedy coming to you from our offices in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, near Miami, with our fourth in our series of private live webcasts. We want to give a shout out to our sponsors, Track Hospitality Software, which is an amazing property management system for those of you in the vacation rental space and condo hotel space. They also offer Track Pulse, which is a CRM for all resorts and hotels. And since we're talking about reservations training today, I definitely want to give a shout out to them. Travel Outlook, which is our call center, one of our call center clients, the only call center client currently certified with our KTN certification standards, which requires them to get a very high score on mystery shopping. Probably we train all of their agents and we've had them for 10 years. Better Talent, Steve Trover and team. If you're looking to find and recruit the best talent in the lodging space, check them out. Because of their sponsorship, we're able to offer this series free of charge. So some of the names on the list, you've been with us for all four so far. We're doing a rotating series of hospitality, a reservations topic, and then, for example, next month, we're going to be doing one on hotel sales, hotel group and event sales. Now, I know a lot of you have specialized niches in lodging and some of you have certain titles, but it's been great to see the turnout of how everybody seems interested in gaining access to all the content that we have. So maybe you're not directly in reservations, but if you oversee these departments or if you do any sales at all, we hope that next month's topic will bring value. Today's topic, actually, let me correct myself. I think I mentioned the shout out to Track and Travel Outlook that it's actually next month's topic will be on reservation selling. Today, we're going to look at a general hospitality topic that applies to literally everyone in the hotel space, lodging space, really to all different companies. Although KTN does generally provide training for hotels, we've actually been expanding by request outside of the industry. So, a few things. Back to our attendance. I'm very impressed on a Monday. Mondays is always a tough day, especially right now, because a lot of hotels and resorts and vacation home rental companies, you are humming right now. It's the third week in August. Kids are out of school in most locations. We're all starting to get busy. If you're at a city center hotel or an urban hotel, you're having a really good year too, according to the statistics. Whereas in the years of 2020, especially 21, 2022, guests wanted to go to those open space areas and resorts and outdoor locations and rural areas. Now this is the year of the urban vacation. So New York City is humming. I just saw an article where the #1 destinations are in US, New York, Orlando, not surprising, Seattle, and internationally, Rome, Paris, and London. No surprises there. So around the world, welcome to all of you. We are, I guess the count today is 5 continents. We have people in South America, North America, we have Africa, we have Middle East, which is kind of in the middle, of course, and we have Asia. So shout out to Singapore Hotel. I hope you're watching this on a review, because if not, it's practically the middle of the night there. I think it's a 12-hour time difference. The Movenpick Hotel in Beirut, we've seen your name on the list for almost all of these. We welcome our first participants from New Guinea and the Coral Sea Hotels. Thank you for joining us. And to some regular KTN clients, Viceroy, Los Cabos, and the Prestige Hotel Group, we see you on our list as well. People from Kenya and Manila throughout the US, Canada, and Mexico. Let's get started. Now, I do want to mention in our KTN services that we offer, our core businesses here is training and then mystery shopping and call scoring. So pretty much every week, and not so much in the summer, it's more every other week, but in all the rest of the year, I'm out every week doing on-site training. So our traditional on-site workshops. This particular program today on hospitality, we have a private live remote course called Heart of Hospitality Certification, which is a private live 3-part remote learning experience. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that on the next slide here. You actually sign your people up, and they can attend a 1-hour private webcam presented by one of our KTN staff trainers directly for them. And then afterwards, they take an assessment and they do a quick role play and send that back to us. And then they achieve a certification, which is a designation for your business card, your LinkedIn profile, your CV or a resume, as we call in US, and you receive your Heart of Hospitality pin. Now the logo represents the fingers on the hand, represent the pillars, the communication essentials, and the heart is human kindness. So we'll touch on topics related to this today in the presentation that we're going to now kick off. Bringing out the best in our guests brings out the best in ourselves. Now, have you ever noticed when you come into work in a good mood, you meet during that shift the nice, the kind, the friendliest guests? But I'm sure no one on this webcast ever woke up in a bad mood, or one of those days, you know, the day where the indoor cat escapes while you're leaving, or your teenager for the first time doesn't want to kiss you goodbye, or maybe there's just something going on. Oh, no one here has an annoying spouse, domestic partner, significant others. But you get off on the wrong foot, you get to work, and every difficult guest seems to find their way to you. It's almost like when they call in, you know, if you're in a call center or a phone job, they have something called the ACD, automatic call distribution. Well, when you log into the phone system that day, that phone system does a quick personality test. They're like, oh, Doug's having a bad day. Let me send all the mean ones to them. Ding, zing, zing. If you work at a front desk, they actually, I think the guests come in and they do one of those scan, you know how they scan for your body heat and all these scanners, they scan to see which of the 2 or 3 front desk clerks at a large hotel, which one is having one of those days, and they line up right for you. And if you work as a server in a restaurant, you know, they all get seated randomly by that hostess or host right to your station. So that's the way it feels, right? Some days, on days like this, we might blame the weather or the full moon. What is going on today? Is it the rain? Is it a full moon out tonight? Or it could be something psychologists call confirmation bias. Now, confirmation bias is an interesting thing. I love studying psychology. It occurs when we have formed a view, if we embrace information that confirms that view, causing us to ignore or reject information that casts doubt on it. And we become prisoners of our own assumptions. And I put this another way, we get exactly what we expect. So come into work expecting rude, difficult guests. Those are the ones that will call your extension, show up in front of you at the bell stand, line up at the bar. Come into work expecting nice, friendly, wonderful people for the most part. That's what you will find. So let's delve a little bit deeper, because today I hope to remind you, when we bring out the best in our guests, we actually bring out the best in ourselves. Now, is good for business, but also today I'm going to remind us it's also good for us, because we will have a lot more fun. We will meet a lot more nice, friendly, kind people. Okay. Now, if we deliver hospitality experiences that bring out the best in our guests, and we share those heartfelt hospitality moments with our guests, it leads them to do the 2 things every business wants their guests to do. Whether you're a hotel, resort, vacation rental, let's see, conference center, B&B, what have I left out? Oh my gosh, casino resort. We want them to come back next time. There are so many choices out there, and they are a few clicks away from even more options. Next month, we'll talk about in our reservations class, actually in August. I think I'm getting confused on the schedule here. Next month is hotel sales. August is actually our reservations. We're going to talk about in both of those how today, with so many options online, people can go online and click right away and actually look at literally dozens, in the smallest markets, a dozen hotels, or dozens or hundreds of hotels are a click away. We want them to come back to us. That is hard to do in an era where so many choices are a click away. And we want them to tell others good things about us. You know, years ago, hotels were advertised in billboards, something called a newspaper. Maybe a few of you remember those. Magazines, direct mail brochures, travel directories like the AAA Auto Tour book, which was the go-to planner that my parents used when they loaded us up in a station wagon. But today, marketing is word of mouth, or actually word of click. When people go online and do online reviews and social media posts. So when we bring out the best in others and deliver that heartfelt hospitality experiences, it's good for business, okay? But it's also good for you, because unless you win the lottery, you will always need a job. Now, I don't know, we have all different countries here and all different continents. I'm not sure if you have lottery in your country. For many years, we never had it in the United States, but they started state by state to allowing these lotteries. In the United States, the money is supposed to go to education. Well, I think it does, but it's kind of a little shell game in a lot of states. Like, we'll put the lottery money into education, but we'll kind of take the other money we used to give to education. Not that I want to, accuse a bigger discussion here, but that's the way it's supposed to work to fund education. And I don't know how it is where you are, but a lot of us might play the lottery and buy a ticket every now and then, and that's okay. But don't count on it for your retirement. My wife Kathy is a perfect example of this. Every Saturday we go to the grocery. She pushes the cart and we load it up together. When it comes time to check out, she sends me to the checkout line and she goes to the lottery. Now, on a normal Saturday, no big deal. She buys her ticket, that's it. But when that Powerball gets up towards the billion level, 700 million, 900 million, then I know what's coming the whole car ride home. Kathy will tell me how she's going to spend the money. So I load up the groceries. She comes into the car and she comes out with her ticket. She's like, I think I got it this week, Douglas. I'm like, oh, great, okay. And what are you going to do with the money? Or she'll just start talking. I don't even have to ask. Well, my wife is a 7th generation farmer's daughter. She's going to take care of everybody on the farm that's been in her family since 1852. Mommy, yeah, my wife still calls her mommy. Her mom is 78. And mommy gets the house rebuilt from the ground up and furnished with colonial period antiques. Her brother Kenny, who still farms, he gets a new tractor and a cabin built on the farm, a log cabin built on the farm next to her log cabin. And, all of our family gets their student loans and their mortgages paid off. And then I usually say, honey, what do I get? And she looks over and says, you get to stay married to me, and that should be enough. Well, I don't have to worry too much about this because the odds, and I usually don't remind her, is 1 in 303 million for her to win. So back to my point, unless you win that winning number, or at least like a really big winning, you're gonna have a job. You gotta be here 40 hours a week anyway. Some countries work more, a few work less. Gosh, some countries in Europe, you get 4 weeks vacation. In the United States, we get 2. Just try to take it. If you try to take it together, you come back, they're like, oh, I remember you. Didn't you used to work here? Yeah, we did okay without you for 2 weeks. But you're gonna have to have a job. You're gonna work 40 hours. Why not make the best of it? We can have a lot more fun when we bring out the best in our guests. This quote came from my front office manager when I was a bellman. And as a bellman, I have to admit, we did complain a lot. Whenever we would be assigned a new task other than carrying bags, sometimes we would grumble. I remember when they came out with the USA Today newspapers and we had to start delivering them. And every morning a big delivery would come. We had a 310 room hotel, the Lexington Marriott Resort, Griffin Gate, where I started. And we'd have to, if we were sold out, we'd have to drop one of those newspapers at every door. That took a while. And, we didn't get paid extra for that. But of course, we made a lot of money, the rest of the time. And there wasn't much else going on, for the 6 a.m. shift once we drove the airline crews to the airport. So our boss would say, guys, do the math. You have 24 hours in a day. You have 7 days in a week. You have 156 hours. Do you try to sleep at least 8? That's 56. Now, what's left? Take away the time when you're commuting. Take away the time when you're doing childcare, what's left is 80 hours. You're spending 40 at work. Why not make the best out of it? That quote stuck with me years later, and I hope it's a good reminder for you. So before we bring out the best in our guests, we have to first power up our positivity. Now, I don't know what your method is to do that. Each of us has our own source that is our power of our positivity. Maybe you throw on the Bob Marley song, Lively Up Yourself, or Positive Vibration. I used to actually listen to those when I was first starting my company in 1989. But today, my source is gratitude. And maybe it's one you should try. I have found gratitude is a superpower that can fuel your spirit of positivity. And I'm going to recommend to you, try something that I started trying right about the time, about 2 months after COVID hit, when I wondered if anyone would ever, well, if hotels would ever reopen, and if so, would they ever do training? And yet here we are with a record year of growth. So it's worked for me, and I encourage you to try it when your phone alarm goes off, because I'm pretty sure you wake up to a phone alarm. Does anyone still have an alarm clock? Hit that 5-minute snooze bar, but don't go back to sleep. That's what I do every morning. I did it this morning. Take a moment instead to think of all the things you have to be grateful for. Now, a lot of people will tell you, I just read last night an article in the New York Times app from I guess, psychologists that actually study the effect of gratitude on health. And apparently they're trying to find a connection to all this. And they said that the people that get the most benefit from their gratitude moment actually write it down. I don't do that, but I do speak it out. Write it down. Some people put it in a jar and, you know, be specifics, but it's real easy to get started. First of all, be grateful that you woke up. Be grateful that you woke up in a house. But here at work, let's be grateful you have a job, no matter how humble it is. At least you have a job today. You have a job where you have coworkers, and make it your job to lift their spirits. And hopefully they're paying you to watch my webcast. Some of you are students. Thank you for attending. That is amazing. But most of you are being paid right now to go to a webcast to talk about positivity and to talk about gratitude. I think that's pretty cool. Make it your job to lift the spirits of your coworkers, because the spirit of hospitality is reignited every single day when we greet our first coworker. You cannot be all nice and friendly in the front of the house and then in the heart of the house be a grump. Hospitality starts at the entrance to the employee, to the associate entrance, or the lunchroom, and when you pass your coworkers. So let's delve deeper into the actual word hospitality, and then we'll look at delivering it to the humans that we call guests. The word hospitality, you may notice the word the root word is hospital as well. It's actually from the Latin word hospice, which has a diametric meaning of both guest and host. Now, maybe you're wondering, what is the diametric meaning? That's what I wondered when I saw that word for the first time. But I got that cool little app on my phone and I just press, what does diametric mean? It means a word which means the opposites. So the word hospice actually represents the guest and the host. I should be pointing the other way, the guest and the host, you. So it means it's a mutual shared feeling affecting both the giver and the receiver. When you deliver hospitality, ladies and gentlemen, it is a reciprocal exchange. And this is why our theme today, when we bring out the best in our guests, we bring out the best in ourselves. We have a lot more fun. You gotta be here 40 hours a week anyway. So when you make those authentic, genuine connections, it's a reciprocal exchange. And we get this uniquely human feeling. A lot of us call it that warm fuzzy. And I know you all get this from time to time. Have you ever had that chat with a guest on the phone and you hang up and you think, what a nice person? You hang up and just for a moment, you reflect and you go, oh. And in your heart at that moment, you get that little warm, fuzzy feeling. At that same moment, through the miracle of satellite transition on the other side of the continent or planet, they're hanging up and they're going, oh, what a nice hotel staff or phone person. You get this in person when you have that connection and you say, oh, what a cute baby. How old are you, little baby? Or, oh, what are you cute puppy? Dog mom is lighting up. My name is Maxie. How old are you, Maxie? I'm 14. That would be Kathy. Yes, we'll be traveling with Maxie starting on Wednesday to Key West for my birthday. And you get at that moment, or you say, where are you from? What brings you in? Oh, your honeymoon. Congratulations. You know, a person has only one honeymoon. Be at least congratulate them. A person has 1/5, 10th anniversary. This is the big deal. Okay, well, actually I had 2. Okay, but both of them were big deals. And make sure we share those moments and you get that warm fuzzy. Now, I was recently 2 months ago, I was traveling to Reno, Nevada to speak at a lodging conference. And I thought to myself, what do you call that? There must be a word for this commonly known warm fuzzy feeling. So I looked it up on Google and I actually found that in Western culture, we don't have a name for this and couldn't find any in European languages either. But there was a word found in the ancient Sanskrit language, which is arguably the world's oldest language. And the word they have for this warm fuzzy feeling, I'm going to teach you a new word. This is it. Can you read that? Probably not, huh? So let me interpret it for you. It is called kama mutta. Kama mutta. And it's that warm, fuzzy feeling we get in our hearts when we have a feeling that is being moved by love. Now, we love our close friends and family and our spouses and domestic partners, significant others, and our kids and our parents. We love them the most. Of course, not to be biased to all my friends, but I really think you get this most often with strangers because of the lack of familiarity. You know, we love our children very much, but the most, maybe you get it from them when you get a very special gift or a Christmas card, such as the one sitting on my desk from my daughter, that every time I read it, I get that. But when we see someone every day, it's not as common. When you get that feeling with a stranger, you're both feeling it. Kama mutta, being moved by love. By the way, not to be confused with Kama Sutra, that's another book. Okay, has nothing to do with it. I want you to remember that when we bring out the best in others, it is our job to proactively initiate that hospitality. And this requires us to have empathy and understanding for the other side of the situation, the other side of the desk, the table, the bar, the other side of the phone call, ultimately the other side of that guest room door. And you know, when you work in travel, at least at first, sometimes those of us who work in travel have not traveled. Well, it's impossible for all of us to travel and live out the life experiences of all the others on the other side of that door. And, you know, we ourselves may have traveled. Now, let me just use myself as an example. When I started at my first job at a Marriott, I was 20 years old. I had traveled a lot in a station wagon with 3 other kids, where mom and dad did all the planning and paid all the bills. I think we had taken about 3 airplane trips at that time, which was a really big deal for us. But all the travel I did was either to visit family and stay at grandma's house or to go on a vacation. And at that point, I think I'd gone away once for spring break by myself. So travel was fantastic, right? And I would sit back and watch when I was a bellman and I would watch guests come in. I wonder, why are these people so cranky? They're staying at a beautiful 4-star resort. I would love to stay here. And I never really got it until I became the road warrior. I spend about 150 nights a year away. About 70 of those are away on training trips, about 6 a month, 72 a year. And a lot of times I don't make it home. Depending on the location of the training, I don't make it home. If I do make it home, it's very late at night. So business travel can be very lonely. Okay. Now, actually, a lot of women enjoy traveling on business, get away from their kids for a while, put the dirty dishes in the hallway. But a lot of us men, we get lonely. Okay. But I want you to remember when you look at those guests, and you wonder, why are these people so cranky? I'm the one working here 40 hours a week, checking them in, cleaning their rooms, doing all the work, running the food. But I want you to think about from their perspective. Now, particularly the front of the house here, and those of you in the front end of the experience, phone calls, okay, when they're lost, valet, door, concierge, if you're a full service hotel, front desk at every hotel, concierge. You have these guests walking in. I want you to think about what their day was like. This is what their day is like before they left, okay? But all of the challenges that they encounter along the way can bring out the worst side of even the nicest guest personalities. So I want you to think about that, whether she's on business or she's on vacation, or today we see the hybrid trip where people go on a business trip, but they come a few days early or they stay a few days late, or she's going to bring her husband in or her partner in. So while she's in her meeting, he can go and get his nails done, get a nice massage, do some shopping at the mall. So we have people doing leisure, business and leisure. But I want you to imagine what they went through, particularly front of the house people, before they got to you. Before they walked into your lobby, think of the stress in packing and preparing for travel. People ask me all the time, wow, you must hate travel. I don't really hate travel. I'm used to it. I actually love meeting people around the world. But what I hate is packing. I'm going away on Wednesday. As I mentioned, I did the packing on Sunday to get it over with. And it's a lot more traveling with kids. Believe me, I remember. Waking up early, let's say you have a 7 o'clock departure time. What time do you think mom wakes up? The actual entire highway is closed going north and right now going south as well. Flight delays. Flight delays were horrible last summer. They're projected to hopefully improve this year because airlines were pressured by our US government. I'm sure internationally it's a challenge for you. It's a busy summer. Annoying fellow airplane passengers. Oh boy, there's a lot there. The over-the-shoulder reader, the person who tries to read your Kindle, the person who falls asleep on you, the overly talkative person, quarreling children, been there and done that. Are we there yet? He's touching me. He's on my side. He's doing it again. The point is, all of these things, they arrive hungry, tired, and probably cranky. And when they walk into your lobby or call you on the phone, you can treat others the way they're treating you, or we can make it our job to treat others the way you would want to be treated. We can treat the guest the way they're treating you. This is what I actually see happening. I love to stand in the lobbies of hotels and just watch the staff interact. I'm that little incognito person there reading my email, but actually I'm watching the scene. What I find is the nice guest that walks up all cheery and happy, they can take the rudest, crankiest front desk person and initiate a positive contact and get a great response. I can do the same thing at a bar, at a table, anywhere that who am I leaving out? Gift shop workers, the gym person. A lot of times they're bored, they don't talk a lot, but I walk in, hey, how are you today? And oh, they light up, okay? But when I sit in those lobbies watching indifferent people come in that just say, hi, I'm checking in. Oh, okay, last name. How was your trip in? Good, yeah, it was good. You need anything else? No, I'm good. Thank you very much. Here's your room key. We treat people the way they treat us. We should be treating the way the way you would want to be treated. Now, who was raised right? I can't see you raising your hand. Which did you learn growing up? Did mom or dad or granny or mom and mom or dad and dad? Let's see what other possibilities. Whoever raised you right. Did they say, young one, treat others the way they treat you? That's what's good in the world, right? Did they say, I don't think so. They said, treat others the way you would want to be treated. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. In Christianity, we call this the golden rule. Every major world religion has some version of the golden rule in slightly different wordings. So let's remember what we learned as a kid. Now, I use this model a lot to demonstrate the balance in the universe? Well, actually, there's a balance in the universe of pretty much everything. For the spring, there is a fall. For the sunrise, there is the sunset. For the yin, there is a yang. For the night, there is the day. For the evil, there is the good. Same is true for our guest personalities. We have some VNPs, and they are balanced out on the other extreme by the NVNPs. Now, I know you're wondering, Doug, what's a VNP? Very nice people. And then we have the other side, 4 letters, not very nice people. Perhaps you have some other 4-letter words you would insert instead of NVNP. But they balance each other out. And these are the extreme personalities. The very nice people, no matter what happens to them, they will never get rattled. They will call down and say, excuse me, sorry to bother you. Actually, we just came back to our room and it's our fault. My kid left a sucker out, a piece of candy, and there's ants all over it. There's actually hundreds of ants, and I'm sorry, it's our fault, I know, but by chance, if you wouldn't mind, can you have someone spray? The Navi NVMP, he calls down and says, I need to talk to the manager. Well, I can help you. What's going on? My wife stepped onto the balcony to take a selfie, and wearing her sandals, and an ant crawled across her sandal. Singular ant on the balcony. This person over here, you know, on those days where you have heavy departure, heavy arrival, usually a Saturday at a resort, right? And they come back, they arrive at early in the morning because they want, just like everyone else, to get in their room, and the check-in time is 4 o'clock. Oh, they come back about 4:15, 4:30. Sorry to bother you. By chance, is the room ready yet? It's okay, it's all right. I know it's a busy day, right? This one here, they are standing at the front desk at 3:59 with the time, universal time, the atomic time pulled up on their smartwatch, and it's counting down 15, 14, 13. Okay, it's 4 o'clock. Where's my key? So the point is, the nice people will always be nice. The not very nice people will always be not very nice. But everybody else is in the middle, folks. And those are the ones where we can impact. When we bring out the best in them, we bring out the best in ourselves. I used to call this turning the tide. You know, we love expressions in American English, but like colloquialisms, but a lot of people don't really know what that means, turn the tide. But if you live at the ocean, you know what it means. When the moon is pulling over here, it brings the tide into shore. And when the moon comes around the earth and starts to pull it that way, the tide shifts. Literally, you can see it shift. If you're standing there, the waves are coming in, and then the waves get lower on your ankles. So for those of you who live in landlocked areas, we will not use turn the tide. We use my new term. I call it flipping the vibe. Imagine yourself blasting out 5G positivity, and you can flip the vibe of others. You actually put out a vibration. I talked about this in webcast 1. By the way, if you missed that, they're all available on our YouTube channel. And just go to Kennedy, search Kennedy Training Network. You can look at our first one. We talked about the actual HeartMath Institute, which found that we as human beings emit an electromagnetic field that extends about 3 feet away from the body. And you actually, when you get close to someone, you can feel their vibe. We can be a vibe flipper, okay? Interestingly though, this works in telephone calls across digital channels. Flip their vibe, okay? Now, few reminders before I let you go of the mechanics of how we do this. These are the demonstrative techniques. First of all, enthusiasm. This goes in person, this goes on the phone, okay? Acknowledge people as they approach you. If you are a server in a restaurant and you don't have a host, or the hostess has stepped away, give them the finger. This finger, what were you thinking? We'll be with you in just a moment. Just acknowledge them. People walk up to the front desk and you have a line. You know, always focus on the person in front of you, but acknowledge briefly the person behind. Hello, welcome, and go back to the person that you have. But acknowledge people. Greet them before they greet you. The true mark of a fantastic hotel is what happens in the corridors when there's no one around but that guest and the housekeeper or the engineering maintenance person. This is also true in resorts and vacation rental. when you're walking down the path and you encounter that person in the logoed shirt, do they walk right by you? In hotels, a lot of times, the engineering, we call them, or the housekeeper, or the bell person returning from assisting another guest, she's pushing that cart about 10 feet away. These people become carpet inspectors. And it seems like they're looking for that thread pull in the carpet. They walk right past you. But if we want to be a vibe flipper, if we want to bring out the best in our guests, we look at them, we acknowledge those guests, we greet them first, and be fully present. When you have conversations with people, be the one who is actually there, truly listening, not just hearing. Do more question asking than talking, and avoid making the conversation all about you. So when you see a guest coming in, you make that conversation. What brings you in? Actually, we're here to attend a wedding. Oh, how fantastic. You know, my sister just got married last month and I had to go travel to her wedding. Make it all about their wedding. Or you see people with sports logoed items, shirts, hats. Okay, right now, let's talk about Denver, even though my Miami Heat are down 3-1. Look out, Denver. We're coming back tonight, hopefully. Well, you see someone with the Denver Nuggets or a Miami Heat or New England Patriots, or gosh, I don't know the names of the actual true football. You know, football is a different sport in Australia than it is in Europe, which is soccer is what we call it. But you see someone with that shirt and you say, oh, you're a fan. I'll use the sports I know. You're a Patriots fan, huh? And then make it all about them, okay? And then eye contact. It has been said that eyes are the windows to the soul. And having true eye contact that is sustained creates a human connection. Hold it just a little bit longer. As I travel the world and training in 15 different countries, and I love to travel, is my passion. So every year I take one with Kathy, really amazing trip. We're going to Peru, to Machu Picchu this year. And I love to notice how the decorum, how people act with strangers. And most of the world has true eye contact and they actually look at you and they make that heartfelt connection. Now, I love our country in the United States, but I have to, you know, we want to make this a more perfect union, right? That's in our Constitution. In order to build a more perfect union, let's raise the bar here. Let's actually hold that eye contact, because here in the United States, we've gotten away from this. We look at people and we go, hi, how are you? Good. Hello, how are you? Good. Nice to see you. How's your trip been? Good, that's good. We are afraid to look at people. So hold for the third, maybe the fourth second, and you have that true human connection, whether you're walking down the corridor, passing them in the restaurant, seeing them outside. Hold that eye contact a little bit longer. And if you do that, a smile will break out. And the smile is a physical benefit. We talked about that in other classes as well, including the first one. Hold the eye contact, make a smile at everyone you encounter, and you show that you're truly, truly present. You flip the vibe, you turn around their day. Now, some of you are like, Doug, that's great, buddy, but we don't do any of that. We only talk on the phone. The way we speak on the phone can also bring out the best in our guests. Telephone calls can be as inviting as the storefront window in a retail store. And this storefront says, welcome, come on in. And that's what we want our phone calls to do. So pay attention, use a positive greeting. Make sure you're welcoming them with a welcoming statement. You know, when I worked in hotels, it was mandatory. You had to answer with a greeting, hotel name, your name, and an offer to assist. A lot of places now are just answering Brand X Hotel or Brand X Hotel front desk. Let's make, or sales, right? Or Brand X restaurant. I want us to go back and remember that people are calling a lot less because so much information is online. Whereas a previous guest in previous years might have called 15 times during the cycle of their stay, today they're going online for most of that. They maybe call 3 or 4 times, or maybe only 1 time. So let's make sure we bring out the best in them and create that positive impression. Also, vocal skills. Speak slowly. Sometimes people say that script, but they answer it really quickly. Good afternoon, thank you for calling Grand X Hotels. How may I help you? And what we do is we make people feel rushed. We make people feel stressed on the other end. Speak slightly slower, okay? Now, especially because every single one of you, we have almost 200 people, locations on this webcast. We have even more people. Some of you are watching as a group. Every single one of you has an accent, okay? And most of you are listening to me right now. You're thinking that Doug Kennedy has a really weird accent, right? Because that's what the beauty of language. We all have our own versions of English. Here in the United States, we have our American English, but it's into different dialects. People up in New York, they'd be talking like this. You go down to the South, they're really friendly. You go to England and they have the Queen's English. But make sure, no matter whether it's your first or second language, to articulate. That means to fully formulate the words. Do not speak so fast and run everything together. If you run everything together, they're gonna be like, what is that guy saying? Good afternoon, thank you for calling Grand X Hotel. This is Doug, may I help you? Articulate. People where I'm from, Kentucky, I'll be going home in July. A lot of people back home in Kentucky. It's not exactly the South, it's like the upper South, but still they have a bad habit, Southern United States. We get a little lazy with our articulation. Here's how some of my friends talk back home. Hey Doug, how you doing there, buddy? Good to see you. How's the kids doing? I don't enjoy you. That's great. You want to go get some Kentucky Fried Chicken? Oh, that's fantastic. You want to go get a drink of bourbon? Use your articulation. Formulate the entire word before you finish the next one, especially on the phone. All right, it's wrap up time, folks. When we bring out the best in our guests, we bring out the best in ourselves. And I want us to always remember this is really, really, really good for business, but this is also really good for us. Because unless you win that lottery, good luck with that. If you do win, we have a stock in a training company. We would love an investor. But unless you win the lottery, you got to be here 40 hours a week anyway, maybe more in some countries, maybe a little less in others. You're going to have a job, you're going to have a boss, you're going to have a guest or a customer. Why not make the best out of it? Make it your job to lift the vibe of others. Now, did you know that Hilton Chain is named after a very famous person? And I'm going to quote this person too. Now, we have a lot of younger people today thinking, oh yeah, of course, Paris Hilton, right? Actually, it was not Paris, although she is quite famous. It was her grandfather, this man here, Conrad Hilton, the founder of Hilton Hotels. And if you read the Conrad Hilton story, which you can buy at Amazon.com, they used to give it away in every Hilton guest room. Or just go on YouTube. There's a ton of videos by this man. It was quite amazing. First of all, he had many failures before he finally succeeded in the hotel business. It came later in life. Secondly, he was very religious. He happened to be a devout Catholic, but he respected all world religions. And his idea of hospitality was not just a business. He wanted to change the world. This is why Hilton Hotels became the first chain to open US companies to open branded hotels behind what was called the Iron Curtain. I think the first one might have been Warsaw, Poland, and he opened up in communist countries that were under the USSR, what we call the Iron Curtain. And he had this quote right here. You can actually hear him quoted on YouTube saying this. It has been and continues to be our responsibility to fill the earth with the light and warmth of hospitality. And so in closing today, as you face a busy summer and a busy week to kick off a crazy busy summer, remember to let your spirit of hospitality shine as brightly as a spotlight on that stage. Remember what we said about the root word of hospitality, hospice? When you give your hospitality away generously every day, you always have an abundant supply coming back to yourself. It's kind of like taking a flashlight, going into a dark room, turn off the lights, turn on the flashlight, shine it into a mirror, and you will see that beam shines to the mirror and comes right back out to illuminate the whole room. So thank you for joining us. Please stay tuned. Next month, we actually have the hotel sales program. In August, we have another reservation class, and then we rotate back through hospitality again in September when we look at using positive language. Thank you to our sponsors, Track, Travel Outlook, Better Talent. And I do want to remind you to check out our Heart of Hospitality certification that you can actually get remotely. You can take, we also have an individual student rate for those of you who signed up. It's all on our website, kennedytrainingnetwork.com. And please stay tuned. You must sign up for each webcast separately. Please stay tuned. Join us again. Thank you, everybody. Happy Monday, and have a great rest of your week.